Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Everything Zen, where we cover everything in the Zenescope universe, from Carries and Grim Tales of Terror, Gretel and the Seeds of Despair, to the mysterious past of Agent Phoenix in the Phoenix Files. This is Everything Zen, your Everything Zenescope podcast. I'm your host, Mark Sells, and as we inch our way closer to the end of April, we move ever so closely into the big summer movie season, which seems to start earlier and earlier every year. I mean, what once kicked off around Memorial Day weekend is now kicking off at the beginning of May. Specifically, May 5th, with the release of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The live-action version of The Little Mermaid also drops in May, followed by Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Pixar's latest creation called Elemental that brings fire and water characters together. Christopher Nolan returns with a new biopic on J. Robert Oppenheimer, the father of the atomic bomb. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling break out the pink pastels as Barbie and Ken. And Harrison Ford makes a triumphant return in the final installment of Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny, releasing on June 30th. What summer movie are you most looking forward to this year? Drop us a comment below and share your thoughts. And there just might be a special mini art print for you by our April podcast featured artist, Igor Lomov. We've got a double header this week, all centered on the release of the exciting new thriller, The Best Man. The Best Man releases in U.S. theaters and video on demand on April 21st. In summary, a team of mercenaries takes control of a resort hotel, former special ops soldiers, all who just so happen to be part of a destination wedding, must fight back, free the hostages, and save the day. Joining us on this extended edition of Everything Zen are two of the film's leading stars, Nicky Whelan and Scout Taylor-Compton. Nicky, of course, you may recall, played Australian medical student Maya in the final season of Scrubs. She also starred alongside Owen Wilson, Jason Sudeikis, Jenna Fisher, and Christina Applegate in the 2011 film Hall Pass, as well as another wedding-related movie, The Wedding Ringer, opposite Kevin Hart. Plus, she's held many more recurring television roles that include House of Lies, Franklin and Bash, and the popular Australian soap opera, Neighbours. Nicky Whelan joins us first here on Everything Zen. Joining us today, just in time for the release of the thrilling new film, The Best Man, is the film star, Nicky Whelan. Nicky, welcome to Everything Zen.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
We're here, of course, to talk about The Best Man. I watched it last night. Lots of action. It's very tense, very exciting. How would you describe the film, what it's about, and the character you play?
I play a damsel in distress for once. I'm usually the girl running around with the machine gun or the gun or fighting everybody. And when I read this script, I was like, I can be rescued. I'm surrounded by a bunch of badass guys. I'm obviously at my wedding, and I don't want to give too much of the storyline away, but it's Luke Wilson's character, and it gets overtaken by terrorists, and then you understand the backstory of why that happens. And obviously earlier on you also see too that I'd been in a very crazy situation. But there's some beautiful sort of moments throughout the movie with the brothers. I really think the story is about the boys and their connection and the brothers and bringing them back together. And sometimes, I'm sort of the girl in the middle that sort of created a bit of tension initially, and how they all left it, and they're coming back together, and they almost needed this second chaotic, thing to take place for them to come back together and see where everyone was at. So just a fun movie to be a part of. I mean, you can sort of see the cast of badass and so cool. And, like I said, for once I get to be saved, and it's lovely.
And you do get to carry a gun at one point.
At one point, I do.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I think I shoot someone at one point, don't I?
You might.
I might, yeah. So, but I've had to do so much gun work now and shooting and stuff. So, but yeah, I have
All
one
second nature.
back.
And you play Scout Taylor-Compton's sister in The Best Man, and going back to 2009 and Halloween 2, which I believe both of you were in. Did you get to know each other then, or did you only recently connect during readings and auditions for this film?
Scout and I are good friends. We've done 3 movies together. We did another movie together called 7500, which is a horror film, which we did way back when, which was so cool. And her and I literally sit on this plane together for 3 weeks shooting this horror movie. We had a blast. So we became really good friends then. We didn't have any scenes that crossed over in Halloween, but we just know each other and we've worked together. So she called me up before this and she's like, we're playing sisters, let's go. So we got to drive together from the airport. She drove. She's such a badass, like 3 hours inland to this location where we shot the movie. And Scout's so much fun. I mean, you've probably interviewed her before. I love working with her and to play her sister. We had a ball on this movie. Super quick shooting, 11 or 12-day shoot. But yeah, we just got on with it. And, Brendan Fair is an amazing man and a very, very good actor. And it was mainly just the 3 of us but we had this bigger gang that were there a lot of the time. And yeah, we had a blast shooting it together. And I love Scout. I'll always make movies.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like a really intimate set, and obviously with the setting, a lot of fun.
Yeah. Because we're at that big casino, in one location. So you've got everyone there and coming and going. And also they kept the casino open, so there's a bit of action there. So I really enjoyed being out there, actually. It was a bizarre experience, but I just loved it.
The movie is basically Die Hard at a wedding. And you had the distinction of working with Bruce Willis previously in 2019 for the film Trauma Center, where you're fighting for survival in a hospital. What was that experience like working with Bruce? And did a role like that help prepare you for the physical demands of The Best Man?
There was a lot of, we worked our asses off on Trauma Center. I did a lot of running around again. But that's more of an involvement. That character was more like I was the damsel in distress. And then by the end of the movie, I've taken over there's this incredible arc I got to go through of like finding myself and my strength and my power. And, by the end of it, I'm this kind of badass chick that's fighting dudes and being chased. I always seem to be getting chased. Whereas this one, I'm just, I sort of get rescued. I have a few redeeming moments, but this I sort of more lay back. I run, I run a lot in this movie and hide, but I'm sort of being protected by all the men. And I remember reading that and thinking it was nice to have that kind of energy as opposed to being the action chick, which I still love doing. And I got a lot of stuff coming out where I'm kicking ass, shooting guns, I'm playing snipers, all these kinds of things. So I'm always down for it. I always laugh when I get these roles. I'm like, oh, okay, you want me to be a sniper? Let's go, and okay, so yeah, but I'm always open to it. I'm still physically really fit, so I just get up and get on with it. It's a good challenge.
Someone who trains in boxing and Brazilian jiu-jitsu. This is probably a rhetorical question, but do you enjoy roles that have that physical component to them more so than, the flat dramatic ones without it?
I do love the action movies. My favorite is comedy. I started out doing comedy and I love that so much.
And there's a lot of physical demands with comedy too.
Yeah, there is actually, and it's just I do miss that very, very much. I'd got to work with some incredible people when I was doing comedy, and I miss that and try and go. I've done a couple comedies recently, actually, one TV show and one movie, which is still to come out, and I loved being back on that set. Drama's like a whole other thing, It's like some people really thrive and need that. I don't need it. I mean, I love it, and I've had some moments with it, but people sort of really love being in those stuff weeks and weeks. I'm like, make me laugh. Let's kick ass somewhere. It's a little, it also depends where you're at in your life as well. Sometimes those movies come up at just the right time. Like I need to do this right now. So
Yeah.
at the moment I seem to be running around with guns and jumping everywhere. And yeah, so that's where I'm at the moment.
You share a lot of scenes with Dolph Lundgren. Be honest, did he ever say those immortal words, "I will break you," while filming The Best Man?
No, he did not. He's such a badass. I mean, we grew up watching him as a kid. I mean, I'm such a fan. He's so cool. And he looks like a massive kind of action soldier. He's unbelievable in his incredible physique, and he's very good at what he does. And it's why he's had the career he's had. You know, he helped out a lot on set with the action stuff, and he's just enormous. It's just this whole thing. It was so much fun working with him, and he's really talented and he's a lovely man. But yeah, I mean, it's just, again, walking onto a set and being like, seen you my whole life, and now I'm standing next to you. It's very cool.
And Luke Wilson as well. I mean, he's had a pretty stellar career as well.
Luke's a boss. I'd met Luke before, and I'd worked with Owen, obviously, 12 years back with Hall Pass. So now I get to work with his brother. He's a lovely gentleman and very, very smart and funny. And yeah, it's so cool to be on set and, you know, do all that kind of stuff with him. It was just fun. I mean, he's a really nice man. These people are, you know, I've seen all their movies. I've watched them my whole life. So to be standing next to them on a set is always a treat.
Mm. Did you have a favorite scene to shoot during The Best Man?
I loved the wedding scene because there was a lot of pieces to it. Now, I think we shot it. We had to took us a whole day to shoot it. But initially I walked down with my father, played by Chris. He's such an amazing actor. And he's drunk. We got to get down the stairs. And then obviously without giving the storyline away, you know, they interrupt the wedding, the terrorists and stuff. So there were so many parts to that day, and everyone was on set. Everyone was there. So it's nice when you got the whole gang together and good. We laughed and just had a blast doing it. And, you know, that was probably my favorite day shooting. Yeah.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Mental health affects so many variables in our day-to-day lives. How we think, how we feel, and how we act. And it's important at every stage of life, from childhood through adulthood. Fortunately, to help us navigate all those waters and improve our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, there's BetterHelp. It's all one word. That's better, H-E-L-P. At BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues, and it's 100% online. You just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then, you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. And the best part, you can message your therapist at any time. Schedule live sessions when it's most convenient for you. And if your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom-picked just for you. More scheduling flexibility and at a more affordable price. Visit BetterHelp.com/Zenoscope for 10% off your first month of therapy. With BetterHelp, get matched with a therapist who will listen and help you today. Well, you don't know this, but you're part of my holiday tradition every year, which is watching Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas movies, Romance at Reindeer Lodge, Dear Christmas, A Christmas Arrangement. Cheesy as they may be, I love them. Are they as enjoyable to make as they are to watch?
Oh, that's so lovely that you watch them. I haven't done a Hallmark movie for a second. Yeah, they're so beautiful. It's like it's literally, because sometimes we'll shoot them in the middle of the year, and it's kind of like just going home. You know, you go to these beautiful warm sets and they're always dressed delicious, and there's always food in the scenes, and everybody's like, it's very wholesome and yummy. So it's a very nice, homely feeling making those movies. The one I did with Melissa Joan Hart was so beautiful. We did that up at Lake Tahoe, and it was just such a warm. I remember those cookies on set every day, and it was like being at your grandma's house. And there's these great storylines, and yeah, it's quite a different experience bolting around without a machine gun, you know. So it's like
That's exactly what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear that stepping on the set was like Christmas and the smell of cookies every day. That's what you want to know.
I'm confirming it is.
Is there a type of role or genre that you have not attempted or done very little of that you would like to explore more of?
um, I'm always open to new things. There's nothing that I'm dramatically trying to, get into. I would love to do more period pieces, but I just don't get cast for them. I think I've got quite an edgy look. I don't know what it is, but I'd like period pieces and stuff like that. I would always, maybe when I get older, it'll be something I'll be more right for. But yeah, it's something I might venture into. But I don't know. I'm always open for new stuff. I get the craziest stuff sent to me, and most of the time I say yes. So I'm like, let's give it a crack. Let's see if I can do this. So I'm always open to everything. Really, I love it. I love it all.
On social media, you have a Star Wars background on Twitter. You have a dog named Yoda. Talk to me about your Star Wars fandom. Where did it begin? How extensive is it? Like, if I were to come over to your house, would I find figures and merchandise lying around?
Well, if you look just here, up on the wall there, that is a stormtrooper flipping you off, by Michael Muir, the incredible photographer. I have a Mr. Brainwash piece right here, which is a stormtrooper going off to work with his wife, giving him his helmet and his little girl. This whole house, my toaster is Darth Vader, my dog is Yoda. There is a lot of Star Wars stuff in here. I toned it down a few years ago because it just looked like a kid's house. I grew up with Star Wars. My mum loved it, so she played it all the time. I was in her stomach when Empire Strikes Back was airing on the theaters in Australia, way back when. Because we grew up with it, all our toys are Star Wars. I've got original Boba Fett dolls and Darth Vader dolls, this big, from the 80s. The record books that you open and put the little record in and it talks you through and you turn the page. I got a lot of that cool stuff. I don't know why. I just think it's because I love it. It just makes me feel good. I just love all the movies, and just when I see it, and this Mandalorian and the way they've been doing that, it's just so badass. They're nailing it. The billboards are sick. It's just cool. It's like a vibe. It's an energy. It's a thing. You either get it or you don't. And it's one of those things. Think about it. It's lasted 40 years through all these generations. People, kids love it. My age love it, and people older than me love it. It's had this profound effect on everyone. It's this, and I think it's the underlying story of the energy of the good and the bad. It just resonates with all of us, and it's this world that could be. It's a world that could be. Maybe it could be like that in the future, or maybe it is like that out there somewhere, and the good and the bad. And I don't know, it's a really magical series. I just love it. It's just part of my headspace. You know what I mean? It's just,
We're going to put out the positive vibes that Disney and Lucasfilm are going to be calling for your next role.
I'll play a Jawa. I'll get in there and do anything. I mean, I love it.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite Star Wars character in film?
I loved Return of the Jedi. I love the Ewoks. I'm such a girl, and everyone's like, but like, I think that, all the characters, if you look in the background of the Cantina bar and you see Hammerhead and all the old school, not the new ones, the old stuff, Jabba the Hutt, Salacious B. Crumb, the little thing that sits with him, all these, if you look at the history, and all those characters have planets they come from with lifestyles, like they have full backstories. Every character you see comes from a planet. Obviously, I love Yoda. I call my dog Yoda. Wicket, the old Ewoks, and then they've got their whole country that they come from, so their own planet. It's you could go down the rabbit hole with that in a good way.
Yeah. Well, The Best Man releases on April 21st. What's up next for you? What other projects are you able to share?
I've got a crocodile movie coming out called The Flood. I've got a comedy coming out, The Nana Project. I've got a movie called 72 Hours coming out where I play a sniper. I did a TV series which will come out soon, just a couple episodes. What else have we got? It's a few bits and pieces coming out, and I've also got a TV show from Australia which will be airs over here. It's called Bondi Vet. It's actually a hosting job where I go and I talk about a lot of rescue properties and animals and stuff, which is work I do outside of this. So keep an eye out for Bondi Vet. I'm covering this property I work out in Acton here, a sanctuary with a bunch of rescues on it. So I haven't done hosting for 20 years, but I'm happy to go back to it and be in the mix with it with this show, because it's obviously getting out some really positive information that people need to know about. So
That's awesome. Is there like a website or anything that people could visit to help rescue animals and things like that?
yeah, so Spirit of Animals is and I follow them on Instagram and I tag them all the time in my stories. That's the sanctuary that I work most closely with. Last Chance for Animals is another one. They're also on Instagram. These are two places that I'm really passionate about. So do check them out. And Bondi Vet also has an Instagram page, which is the TV show where I show a lot of the property and interview a lot of these people. Fascinating stories, thousands of different animals from all walks of life, from the circus to anywhere, that have all been rescued and have these hell stories, but they end up on these properties. And these are people that run these places. Ria, who runs Spirit of Animals, I mean, it's incredible stories, breathtaking, and all the animals and where they come from. Some people doing some really good stuff. I think we need to give that a lot of attention, you know.
Absolutely. Well, Nicky, thank you so much for stopping by. Best of luck with The Best Man and everything you do. And by all means, continue making those holiday movies we all secretly
I'll
love.
try. Okay.
Thanks again.
Thanks, love. Nice to speak to
Take
you.
care. Our second guest played the leading role of Laurie Strode, made famous by Jamie Lee Curtis, of course, in the 2007 and 2009 remake of Halloween and its sequel. Scout Taylor-Compton has been in some of the biggest television series around, from Charmed and ER to Gilmore Girls, Frasier, Bones, Grey's Anatomy, and Nashville. She played Lita Ford opposite Kristen Stewart in The Runaways. She was featured in the teen comedy Sleepover with Steve Carell, Jane Lynch, and Brie Larson. And how about that Mean Girls meets horror film, April Fool's Day? Scout Taylor-Compton is in the Zenescope studio right now to talk about The Best Man, her love for horror, making movies, music, and more. Right now on Everything Zen. Joining us today, and just in time for the release of the thrilling new film, The Best Man, is Scout Taylor-Compton. Scout, welcome to Everything Zen.
Hello. I'm so excited to be here.
I love this movie, The Best Man. And I know to our listeners, it may sound like a rom-com, but it's not.
What do you mean?
What could you tell us about it, your character, and why audiences should go and see it?
Man, well, my character, I play Haley. I play the bridemaid to the bride. She's very spunky. She's very flirtatious. She's definitely confident. And I think people would really, really love this because it's a slam-packed action movie. You know, it's fast-paced. There's so much going on, and it's really neat because a lot of the characters kind of split off. So there's different storylines going on at the same time. And then you've got some really cool, unique faces in there.
You know, the chemistry between you and Nicky as sisters is a critical part of the film, and it seems very effortless. How did your relationship begin, and how did it lead to these two roles?
Yeah, I love Nicky. I love her so much. She has like this infectious energy and spirit to her. I mean, she is such a remarkable human being. And we did an airplane movie, a horror movie, an airplane movie, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. And we were stuck on this plane next to each other for days and days and days.
Wow.
So we definitely got to know each other really, really well. So when she actually called me, when she was like, they're going to call you about this movie, The Best Man, please do it. You're going to play my sister. Please do it. And when I was like, all right, I'll look at it, Nicky, I was like, with you, I mean, I would do anything. And then I read the script and I saw that we were playing sisters and I was so excited. I mean, you can just tell that we really, really love each other and that we get along. I mean, it comes off on the screen. That's really, there's no acting there. It's just kind of us.
And the two of you weren't on a plane in this one either, so that had to be a bonus.
Yeah, we weren't stuck in a seat for hours.
But you were in this beautiful resort in Mescalero, New Mexico, somewhat remote and definitely a great place for a destination wedding. What was production like there? And because of the location, did it really help develop a stronger connection with your fellow actors?
Oh yeah. First I'll answer the last thing. Yeah, I mean, we were this town is really, really small. It was very, very small. I remember Nikki and I flew into Albuquerque and then we got our rental and we drove together. And I remember as we were going into this town, Nikki was like, there's nothing around. We're like by ourselves. It's
Yeah.
like we're gonna be fine. So she's like, are you sure? I mean, there's nothing around. Where's the hospital? So you definitely felt like isolated. But the resort was beautiful and the mountain town is just so gorgeous. But we definitely grew really, really, really close with one another as we were filming this, because it was such a small town. So we were always hanging out with one another, always in the text thread. What are you doing? Where are you going? Let's go together. So it definitely brought us together. And I think it definitely helped with the movie, knowing that there was nowhere to go and you're just in such isolation.
Yeah, kind of like The Shining in a way. I mean,
100%, which I just saw actually for the first time. And I cannot believe it took me so long to watch The Shining. What an incredible movie.
it is great.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to horror movies in just a second, but here you are in this movie. You are running down hallways, you're in and out of the swimming pool, you're smashing things on people. What did you enjoy most while shooting The Best Man, and why?
God, I mean, I enjoyed all of it. I mean, I'm kind of the actress that likes to get her hands dirty. So obviously, like any sort of stunt work, any sort of physicality is like my strong suit. It's like my favorite thing to do. I'm also marrying a stunt man, so if I don't like that, I feel like he would be like, "What are you talking about?" But yeah, I mean, anything physical is just always fun to do. I also think it like it heightens like your character. You can't really fake action sequences. You kind of gotta get down and dirty and get some bruises on you.
It's the Tom Cruise school of acting right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Was there anything you didn't enjoy or weren't particularly keen on?
That it ended so quickly.
Ah,
I mean, the shoot was
quick shoot.
yeah, it was a very quick shoot. And I wish that we had longer time. I always wish that we have longer time on some of these independent movies, but unfortunately they're just getting smaller and smaller and smaller because of the connections that we all made as a cast and as a crew. I mean, we really got along very, very well. And we all just didn't want it to end.
Growing up in a mortuary, as I had read, as your father was a funeral director, no doubt helped bring about a love for the horror genre. And I can just see,
You would think.
well, our audience can't see what's behind you, but there's a lot of horror memorabilia appropriately behind you. And you, of course, got to play Laurie Strode in Rob Zombie's Halloween and its sequel. Is horror your favorite genre to act in, or are there aspects of comedy or action or dramas that you like better?
Man, I just love filmmaking. I
Mm.
just it is my safe space. It is my therapy. It is my playground. I mean, whether it's horror or a drama or a rom-com or a comedy, I just enjoy filmmaking and the environment and the community that it brings. So I just have so much fun doing anything. But I mean, I will always have the most love for horror genre. And I think it's also because of the fan base and how incredibly cool they are and supportive, and how they will back you and support whatever it is that you have coming out. And I can't say that there's any other genre that has that. I also do conventions, and I do conventions just because I love this fan base so much. I have so much fun with these men and women, and it's just such an incredible family to have behind you.
Cinderella, Snow White, Red Riding Hood, Sky Mathers. What do they all have in common? They're some of the most popular fairy tales around. At Zenoscope, we're celebrating fairy tales this month with a fairy tale virtual con. Friday, April 21st from 1 to 4:45 p.m. and Saturday, April 22nd from 2 to 5:45 p.m., all times Eastern. Ralph, Jason, Casey, and Noah will have exclusive collectibles, interviews, games, giveaways, and more, and all with a special fairy tale theme. That's Friday and Saturday, April 21st and 22nd. Tell Siri to add it to your calendar right now. This month, it's love, loss, lost love, lost heads, and a lot of other lost things, including our serial killer princess's sanity. Cinderella goes up against the Queen of Hearts in the first of a brand new storyline. You want more heart? Carrie's is back in Grim Tales of Terror, Heart's Desire this month. A twisted tale about a piece of artwork that reveals a person's deepest desires. They could be good, but most likely, well, most definitely, something a whole lot worse. Also releasing this month, Grim Fairy Tales issue number 71, which has Sky and her team at Arcane Acre attempting to save humanity from the chaos brought about by the return of He Who Shall Not Be Named. You know who I'm talking about. Don't miss a single story as new releases drop every Wednesday on Zenoscope.com. You know, the first rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. Second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about Fight Club. So, what are Ralph, Brian, Marilyn, Casey, Noah, and the gang going to do on Thursday, April 27th? Of course, they're going to talk about Fight Club, our April Movie Club movie of the month. So, get your boxing gloves out, hop on YouTube to learn how to make soap like Brad Pitt and Ed Norton. And don't forget a cup of Starbucks coffee. Why? Well, David Fincher has stated that there's at least one Starbucks cup in every single shot in Fight Club. Will soap or coffee make it into Sun Kumanaki's Movie Club collectibles? You'll have to wait and see. Thursday, April 27th, live on Facebook and YouTube. And lastly, Easter may have come and gone, but the Zenoscope Easter egg hunt continues here in April, as every order receives a scratch-off ticket with some incredible prizes, including one grand prize winner who will receive a 2023 Philadelphia VIP event package. No purchase is necessary, and only one free entry will be awarded per household. That's the Zenoscope Easter egg hunt, where every scratch-off ticket is a winner. I am going to put you on the spot, though.
Oh,
What is your favorite horror film of all time?
Oh man, that is tough. Of all
Yep,
time,
of all time.
all time, probably The Exorcist. I mean, I freaking loved The Exorcist. I think maybe because it was the first horror movie that my mom ever showed me, but I loved The Exorcist. And there's this really underrated indie horror movie that I really, really love called May.
Oh,
Have
yeah,
you seen May?
I have.
God, I just loved May. I loved her performance. I thought she was so incredibly creepy in such a beautiful, wonderful way.
There's a lot of hurry up and wait on sets. When you have a break during filming, what do you like to spend your time doing?
Oh man. We're usually like, especially with like the best man, because we all got along so well. We usually were like playing games,
Yeah.
like board games or like cards or stuff like that, or some game that Brendan was trying to teach me. I still don't understand it. like he would do it with his wife and like his neighbors, and they would like bet money and stuff. So mostly that, or just like, I mean, eating crafty, a lot of craft eating.
You can't go wrong with the
Oh yeah,
craft
a lot of
service.
food, a lot of food, and a lot of games, and just enjoying each other's company, covered
Yeah.
in blood or you know, strapped up to like guns or whatever it is that they have on at the time.
Shifting gears just a little bit, you played Lita Ford in The Runaways. You were in Nashville, which was one of my favorites. You starred alongside Beyonce in Obsessed. We talked about Rob Zombie, music videos, and you have a great voice yourself, having recorded your own music. Are you still working on music projects as well as acting?
No, I'm not. You know, it's so crazy because I was in the industry so young. I think my mom was trying to do the triple threat thing. I think she was like, "You're gonna be a Disney star. That's what you're gonna do." And then Disney got one look at me and was like, "What is this thing? Like, what do we do with this?" This
No.
no, but it's true because I just never identified with like that sort of performance. Like I'll
Hannah
never,
Montana.
yeah, I couldn't like even like for the life of me, I don't know how many Barbie commercials I auditioned for, but I never booked a single one of them. But then Jay Leno, I was on Jay Leno for 2 years with like Brie Larson, and we would do Barbie commercials, but they would be like chewing tobacco Ken and smoking Barbie and all this stuff. I nailed those. um, but I think my personality wasn't very like Disney-esque. I rather, you know, go play a runaway or, you know, like that darker characters that have a little bit
That's
more
right.
like back to them. So that whole music career was kind of that sort of thing. So as soon as I turned 18, I was like, I ain't doing this no more. I was like, but I do love singing and I love music. And so when any like a part has anything to do with music or singing, I'll never turn my head to it because there's still a love there. But I'm definitely not gonna go be Lady Gaga.
Well, a musical may be calling, and
Ooh, a horror musical?
a horror musical. Yes, maybe
Yeah,
the musical version of Carrie or something. I don't know.
that would be so
Um,
cool.
you have had a very diverse and amazing career thus far. Is there a particular role that you are especially proud of or felt like, was a turning point in my career?
Mm. You know, I mean, obviously, probably the Halloween franchise. I mean, you know, I didn't realize how massive the Halloween following was and how, you know, how much it was loved, and especially the Laurie Strode character.
Yeah.
Until I did get cast and people just were kind of comparing me to Jamie Lee right off the bat. And you know, I had a lot to prove, and thankfully I had an amazing director behind me to help guide me and also remind me that, you know, he hired me for a reason, not to replicate Jamie you know, Jamie Lee. So I think obviously that movie for sure. And I mean, not a lot of people yeah, ever are going to be able to say that they're Laurie Strode. It's just Jamie and myself, you know? So that's pretty cool torch to have.
And now you're a scream queen.
Yeah, and
What
that
can we say?
too. I mean, it's crazy. Like I didn't even know what a scream queen was until that movie, and it's I know a lot of people. I mean, some actors or actresses or actresses, I would say, get like kind of like, yeah, so they. But I like embrace it. I love it. I mean, I like my scream. I think it's cool. I could do a lot of cool things with it.
I get the goosebumps
Yay! I
for
love it.
sure. The Best Man releases on April 21st in theaters and on demand. And I may have seen something about a Texas Chainsaw video game. What's up next for you? Are there other projects you can share?
Yes. Yes. So Texas Chainsaw is the video game is finally going to be launched very, very, very soon. I also just got done doing a movie with Richard Dreyfuss, John Cena, that I'm really excited about. I just did a movie with Chrissy Metz that's coming out as well. I just did do rom-coms. I've got tons of stuff, as well as, going into directing soon. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a good future.
That is exciting to me. And I'm sure
Ah,
our listeners too. Can't
yes.
wait to see all this stuff. Scout, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. If you're fans of action thrillers, don't miss Scout Taylor-Compton in The Best Man in theaters April 21st. Thanks again, Scout.
Thank you.
You can catch Nicky Whelan and Scout Taylor-Compton alongside Luke Wilson, Dolph Lundgren, and Brendan Fair in The Best Man, releasing in U.S. theaters and video on demand on April 21st. And of course, don't forget to listen to Talk Scary to Me, the weekly film and TV podcast from Danielle Harris and our featured guest, Scout Taylor-Compton, as these two final girls discuss everything from sex and love to all things horror. And that'll wrap things up for us for now. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to drop us a comment below. Let us know what you think, what you thought of The Best Man, and what summer movies you're most excited to see. We'll see you all again next time, probably next week too, right here on Everything Zen.